In this video help, we're going to be covering the project management portion of this application. The way you do this is while you're in the customer information screen, we're going to go over to the project track or proposal track. And what we're going to do in here is we're going to create a new proposal. And the way you do this is you add the information in this text area that's about the proposal. You title the proposal name, the date that it's supposed to start. You add the proposal number, the date it's supposed to be delivered, the person it's supposed to be delivered to, and the estimated value of the proposal. Coming back to the proposal number, it's best if you use the first initials of the primary person that is going to be the proposal number for, and put those initials in the front, and then start out with a 00001, and then repeat that VC, and then add 2 for the next proposal, which would be this one. And you can create as many proposals for this client as you need to until you do thousands if you needed to. But this will track them. The way you see the actual proposal being developed is to click on the icon for the individual proposal that you want to work on, and let's click on that. You'll see that it changes the screen, and you'll see the proposal ID that you put over here and the date that it was supposed to start. These are pretty old records, so here it's 2015. These are just samples that I threw in there when I originally did this. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and work through the parts of the proposal and what it consists of. You can see that we came over and we have the same information in the first line that we added in there to begin with. I'm going to change it a little bit just to run the number up a little bit. I'm going to call it 30,000 so we have those numbers in there just to give it some kind of an idea of the size of the application that we're working on as far as the proposal. So we got 30,000 in there. Now the next thing you can do is to go into the proposal is the comment that we added over on the other side, and this is basically a short description of what this particular proposal is for. Then you're going to develop the actual WBS breakdown requirements. Now this is something if you had a client come to you and gave you an RFP and you put in all the RFP elements that you have to answer within your proposal, and you would go ahead and mark them up as far as like if it's 1.0, 1.2, whatever, the way that they created their proposal. It could even be ABC, it could be 1, 2, 3. Whatever the numeric sequence is, go ahead and put that in there and take the exact requirements, and that's the keyword, requirements, for their proposal that you have to cover in order to meet their requirements that they have. The next thing you're going to do after you get this in here is you're going to go over to the WBS breakdown, and you're going to transform each one of those requirements into a group where it's a WBS element. And the group, what it is, and let's go ahead and put something in there. We're going to call it 1.0. And let's just say that for kicks and giggles, this is going to be the survey. I used to work for doing proposal work for a construction company, and the survey is either a site survey or an actual physical survey of the grounds that you're going to be working on. So you're doing a housing tract or whatever. This could be any type of proposal. This could be a technical proposal for electronics. It could be a computer facility. It could be just about anything that you want to put in there. The elements that fill this out are where you put in the cost as far as the labor is concerned. Let's say out of the 30,000, let's say 12,000 of that is labor. You can see it calculates up at the top and over here. The next thing we're going to do is say materials are going to be 1,500. Okay, and we can see it's now 1,350. Equipment cost is going to be, let's say 9,800, just for kicks and giggles. Standard, okay, the subcontracting costs are going to be, let's say 1,500. We're just going to throw numbers in just to get this thing up. Now we're at 24,800. So services, other costs. This could be anything that is a service that you're paying for. In this particular case, let's say there's $800 worth of services. And expenses cost, let's say it's going to be, let's say 300. Just so we can have some numbers put in there. Travel cost, we're going to say another 300. Okay, we're at 26,200. So now what we can do is we can just go over here and say, we're going to have some manuals. So manuals, let's get that correct. It's supposed to be manuals. Okay, we got manuals. And let's say the manuals are going to be 2,000. So our number is getting right toward the top. We're at 28.2, and you can just fill the balance of this out for some other things that'll, well, let's say 600 for support. And we're pretty much building our proposal elements and the cost for them. So we're at 28, and we said this is going to be 30. I'll just fill it out later. But basically what we're looking at is each new element that you put in here, you have to separate the cost. Now in this case, what I did is I put it all into one element. I'm going to say that that is not the way to do it. I'm just doing it to show you how you enter prices in there, and it's going in and adding the price. In this case, what you would do is you would come down and you would generate each new element, like this could be 1.01, and maybe this is the site survey. Okay, so I got a site survey, and you could break this cost up over the different elements that you put it into. Say this is a $800,000 contract, you would break it up over each one of the WBS or work breakdown structure elements. As you add another one down here, for example, if I put $200 in here, you can see how it's going to add up and summary at the top, and each one of these individual elements will have their own amount of money in it that is for that particular element. Now the important part of this is that if you are changing this and you lose a section of it, say for example the contract will not cover the site survey, this is a negotiation, the contract changes, well, it's as simple as just changing this out and then either not recovering the cost or recovering it somewhere else. It's really up to the way you want to run your own program. As far as actually working the individual pieces in this is how you do it. You add the pieces until you get them totally covered as far as the cost for the proposal. Now this is at the cost level. It does not include G&A, profit, and all the other aspects of what you're going to put into it. So this is the cost proposal from your project team and project managers. The next thing we're going to do is we can do a budgeting. Now the way the budget works is I've got about 29,000 in here at 30%. It's 8,700, so it's going to be 37.7 would be the cost at 30%. Now you can do a whole thing for one, or you can break it out for each one of the individual elements and see it summarizes individually. Okay, what I mean by that is you can change the percentage and load it separately for all the elements that you put in your WBS. And that would be the sums here, and the percentages here will end up by being the total here, and then whatever the margin is, that will be the summary with the margin and profit with G&A and everything. So you can see that that's the way you build your numbers. Cost with the margin gives you the price for the proposal. Now the next thing you can do is you can come down and do the project labor. The important part about the labor is that you have to track your labor. And if you don't track it and schedule it, it can be a real bear. So, and I mean that because you can't keep track of it. It's really difficult to do. Now in this particular application, we don't go into great depth. What you would do is you just take your project member and the contract start date, the contract end, the labor rate, and the particular planned hours that you're going to have. It'll calculate what that sum should be for the labor. You need to cover your labor as far as your cost for labor. And in this case, there's 12,002. You need to come up with 12,002 worth of labor and showing how you're going to distribute it. This is not gospel. What this basically means is that you're trying to cover the labor to see how it's dispersed. Now, if you're going to use some other kind of an application like project or something like that to do the minute hammocks and packets and all that kind of stuff and lead and lag, you're welcome to do that. But this is just the way to rough out your cost, rough out your price, come down and show your labor as to where you think it's going to be. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to do your cost management for the project. You're going to go in there and you're going to break down your cost as far as expenses, material, services, and other. And what you would do is break that out until you summarize the amount for that. And you would take each one of the elements and summarize that based on a date span. So for example, cost date, then the labors, materials, and so forth, and break those out so you can pattern where you're going to be on what time for what month. Now you can do this either by day, by month, by week, whatever way you want to break out your cash flow. But it gives you an idea of what your expenses are going to be for a period of time. Most people do it by the month because they want to see at the end of each month, did they keep to their budget as far as all their expenses and everything. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is going to go into other costs. This is your services. This is where you'd put the description, the vendor, the cost type, the date you plan to start it, the purchase cost it's going to cost you, the quantity, and then it'll give you the total based on the purchase quantity each. In this particular case, it might be 1 each times a number of dollars, or it might be different elements broken down. You can put as many in here as you need to. It's really up to you. The next thing I have in here is called a web viewer. And what this does is allow you to jump out and go to websites and look for different cost elements or vendor visits as far as looking at their sites and seeing more about your vendor. Then you can come over here to the data portal, and the way the data portal works is it allows you to generate individual items and add them. You can click in here, you can add a picture, a QuickTime movie, or a file. You can copy and paste. In the case of on an iPad, all you have to do is insert from library, or you can do something a little different. Say for example this is a certain product. It could be say for example a console for a main control or something like that. You can go to a website, take that URL of an image and go ahead and copy it. Like say for example I'm in a website and there's a picture of it. You'd right click on it and it would say copy image URL. Come back over to this area, paste it into here, then click insert and it'll paste the picture in here. Now in the portal itself that you visit within this screen, over here the data portal, if you click on this little blue arrow, it'll give you a larger photo of this. This would allow you to kind of give a running inventory and a narrative about what this guy is. For example, console for computers, control center, whatever, and you put that information in there. So these are the items to which are deliverables. These are pictorial deliverables with a narrative that goes with them so that you can see what they are and what you're going to be covering as far as the item itself. You can also do some different things here too, is if you put a URL in here that is for the whole website and click this button, it will take you to that URL. This is explained in this little narrative right here. So this will take you to that next website where maybe you want to just go visit the whole website, maybe have a picture in here. Say for example you just copy the picture from the website. By when you click on it and say copy image, you can come back over here and paste it in. Then you can go back over to the website, take the URL for the website, and you'd have a link back to the website with all their narrative in it. So you have a two-way street you can travel here to do that kind of thing. Now, some of the things we didn't cover that are on the individual screens is that if you check back through the tabs, you're going to see some charts. And what happens in the charts, it's going to actually show you your cash flow as far as the estimated value of the individual items and what they are in here as far as their cash flow for them. So you can see those in here. Let's go back over to the project management. The next one is project budget, and here's your budget chart broken out so you can see who has the most percentage as far as the individuals that are in the project budget cost. Pop-up menu again, go back to proposal, and then over here we did project budget, and then WBS. Here's the portal structure for this. If you want to click on it, it's going to take you to a breakdown, and it's going to break down the elements where you can now go back to the WBS elements and make additional notes about those items as far as the cost of them. For example, if the client does a change order, you're going to have to go back in and create another WBS for the change order, or you may want to do another proposal or a cost run-on proposal if you want to. And the way you would do that is create another new proposal number, and now it could have the 02 at the end, and that could be the next thing you're costing for a change order. Now if you have questions about the way this application works, that's going through it pretty quickly, but basically I want to make one thing understood. If you see something here and you operate differently, then what you want to do is contact the developer and ask the question. And that question is, how can we change this to fit my company? That's very simple. Do it all the time. So all you have to do is contact the developer and say, I would rather have this break out differently. I want it to look differently. I want it to work differently. Now you have the option too, is to have a completely different application that I have that has already been modified that may include most of those elements, which keeps the cost down. So you want to ask and say, have you got another version of this that does this, this, or that? And if I do, I'll go ahead and take you to it, show it to you, and walk you through it. I do have a brand new project management application that is on the boards and it's done, but it basically is a modifiable base app. What is a base app? A base app is one where you come in and look at it, We walk through it, and then you tell me what you want to change on it, and that's what I'll deliver as your deliverable. So if you have any questions and you want them answered, contact me either by my mail, which is vclement@gmail.com, or what you do is you go to www.ontargetsolutions.biz and go to the custom application area and look for other custom applications that have videos with them that will explain to you how this all works and how you can change it. If you have any other questions, give me a call. 928-254-9062. Thank you.